Okay, recording.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us on Sunday, October 3rd, on Global Technopolitic Forum's research team meeting. So we start this meeting maybe with Jennifer. Jennifer, would you like to update us on what is going on in your end?
Yeah, so Greg sent me over his paper on China's capitalism, like titled China's Government Capitalism, and I read through it, and then I was doing some like loose research based off of that, because he kind of went into the history of it and how it's like not really a new situation, this crackdown, but just new targets based on, you know, what's going on right now and who rose to power as quickly as they did. And also it's pretty interesting because his research implies that, you know, we're kind of only at the beginning of what's to happen, and who knows what's going to happen with these tech billionaires, but China does have a history of kind of making people disappear and going to prison for, you know, success in fields that are eventually deemed to be, you know, not appropriate. So I thought that was interesting. And then the more I looked into it, you know, China's kind of like reaching out of even like fandoms and tech billionaires and this and that, and going into like burgeoning fields that, you know, are kind of going unregulated in the US, places like crypto. And I would assume they might like start looking towards like NFTs and things like that as like places to look out for that like lack regulation in the international sphere, but definitely are creating like very quick billionaires in the tech world. And China's already beginning to crack down on crypto, which that's just interesting to me because even the US, like SEC, they're so behind and have no clue what's really going on in that field and have no clue how to apply current mechanisms to that. So I think it's interesting that China's almost ahead of its time in its crackdown of that. So I was going to start looking at that next week, but I first wanted to speak with you both and get a sense of what to do.
Mm-hmm. What about the reason for these crackdowns? Do you get a feel that beyond the control of data, what other reasons are there? Do you getting any information on that area?
Yeah, I mean, based on my research from like 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago, it seems as though the tech industry was just taking up too much space of the economy, and China doesn't want to be overly reliant on one sector, and have to, you know, bail them out or let techs become like too big to fail is what I found the main argument to be. And since there is precedent set that China does like crack down on fields when they become a threat to society, like they truly felt as if tech had too much money and power to keep China stable if it were to fail. So it's kind of like creating its own light failure of the sector in order to protect to do what they think is protecting the people.
Okay, but I think there is more into it, and if you could go deeper into analysis of those and find better argument, I think that would be really helpful, because that doesn't explain why suddenly Jack Ma, for example, is disappeared from the scene, and lots of other events that are taking place. So I think there is something more going on. And would be good to be able to deepen into it. Puran, do you have any opinion on that?
I completely agree with what you said, Pari, because if you really look at what is happening in China, it's multi-fold. I mean, it is not one tech thing that Chinese are after, but look at what is happening to their real estate companies. Look at what is happening at the societal level. Look at what is happening with regard to contraction of Chinese economy. So I think, you know, I completely agree with you, Pari, when you say that, you know, a lot is happening and we really have to look around a little bit for a longer period and try and sort of go into establishing some kind of a correlation. And that correlation will mean everything in China, because it is not only economy or tech giants or real estate companies failing in a way, but everything is, Chinese have opened up everything. So it is really, to me, it looks like they're going to find it pretty hard to sort of put their, hands on to every deck that they have around. So I think it'll be wise and prudent to keep in waiting and watching, but keep on sort of running through, the thread which is going to really eventually run at the societal level. Because if economy does not do well, Chinese people, of course, they have been kept under some kind of a control by the very nature of the regime which China has. But it might really trigger something which Greg said about 2 or 3 weeks back, that in 20 years' time, and this is what analysts all over are trying to not say it quite openly, but they're trying to sort of analyze the trend and saying that everything goes the way it is going, and Chinese can't really put their hands on where they are, not more than 20 years before they begin to sort of sow signs of crumbling down. So I completely agree with you.
I think it's even not 20 years. I think we're seeing it. I was reading an article which was saying the winds of change is starting to blow, and there may be some difficulties. Okay, Greg, any comment?
The question for me really is, I have the sense that something is different, new is in the air in China. But if you look at historical patterns, there's nothing especially different about this crackdown. The Chinese government's always cracked down on individuals. Individuals have disappeared. So in some sense, you can say, why didn't Jack Ma get taken down sooner rather than now? But I still have the sense that there is something going on to keep looking beneath it, asking, given that we have the Party Congress next year, that's going to be critical for Xi's leadership. Is this part of positioning him? Or does he really realize that the effort to make China rich before it gets old is not likely to succeed, and therefore wants to bring forward more sense of equality, more measures to try and promote equality? I think those are all really interesting questions, and they're pretty speculative, but it's worth seeing if we can find out a bit more. I also think, Jennifer, that the other track you mentioned, which is looking at some of these instruments, the currency, the NFTs, all those things, that's going to be a big, all those are big deals, I think. And they bear watching. Maybe at this point there's not much more to say than to watch them. But if you have thoughts about that, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah. I agree that the thing about what's tough about looking at the reasons behind the crackdown is that it is in line with how China tends to treat like people who they deem as a threat to the government. So I agree, like it's almost like surprising that this didn't happen sooner in a way. So all like the stuff I'm finding on it about like the reason, it's kind of just like, well, this is China and the government felt threatened and these people were too wealthy and too powerful. So obviously like that became more important than like the financial success. But I'm not really sure, how to find this like deeper reason for it.
Yeah, I think sometimes some of the debates in various institutions could help, because there are hints of we don't have factual data. We're not going to find factual data, but in some debates you can find lines of argument that could be helpful.
Okay.
Okay, the other topic I want to discuss with everybody is, as you can see, it's a while I haven't brought new interns in. We are finishing the last project that we had, the 5G project. It's almost done. And I didn't bring new interns because I want to find a better sense of what we want to do in coming months. So Jennifer, I want you to tell me, as an intern, what would make you interested in working beyond beyond the research or things you were doing, what else would be beneficial to you as an intern? And then I would start to think about how we can accommodate or better align the needs of interns with the needs of the forum.
What do you mean?
Well, you have been with us for a while, so you have
Yeah.
seen how we work with interns. From your point of view, what would be beneficial to you? Were you happy with what there was there? What else you think would be beneficial? Do you have any suggestions? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful. Like, at one point I worked on a paper with another intern, and that was helpful to like get another person doing the same research as me and having the same kind of task at hand. I also think, like working towards a clear goal, like when we produced the proposal and like a final paper, or even when there was the presentations, like it was nice to have like an end date to projects almost. So it was really clear what your research like should be for. And I know obviously like probing research is so that we can get to that point, but it's definitely nice to have like both a collaborative environment with other interns and also like clear end goals,
Okay.
I found that to be the most helpful.
Okay. Greg, do you have any comments on that? Or
No, that was useful. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes.
so the last thing is I'm also thinking about promoting the forum. Puran, do you have any ideas in terms of partnership with various countries? We want to, again, I like it to be more global and more sense of partnership. So Puran, any ideas?
Certainly, Pari. I mean, I have three points to sort of share with you. One is, of course, what you asked me. I mean, I have been known and people have been working with me both in Europe and also in Africa. And then while I'm an Indian, I also have some, people known to me, and I know people in turn as well. So I was very happy, and we could probably think through a little bit more to, I mean, after you are fine, then what I can do is I could probably connect you with the top people in other think tanks. So one could be Africa, another one could be Europe. And then the third one, since I'm here in Delhi, in India, I'll be pretty happy to sort of see to it that we have some tangible, partnerships or tangible openings with each other, or meeting of minds, and we sort of begin our, what should I say, begin our sort of work with some of the think tanks which are beyond US, because you will know people and think tanks better in the US than anybody. But I think I'll be happy to contribute to, sort of sharing with you a couple of think tanks names. You could probably have a look at it. And maybe we could probably go back into the background, what they've been doing. And then we say that these are 2 or 3 things which we could probably pick up. And then we begin to talk to them in a much more dedicated way. Second one could be, we could also probably look at the area. Do we really want to do it in the area of research, or maybe some joint grant making and grant writing for a particular project, or some kind of a training or capacity building program? So that could be the second layer. One is that I'll be sending you the names and about who they are, and then we could probably look at what shall we like to do with maybe each one of them. And once we do it, then we have, a very clear kind of an understanding, and then we can probably talk to them in a more dedicated and in a much more sort of nuanced way. So it could be research, it could be training, it could be joint grants. It could also mean maybe after COVID-19 goes away, then can we also do some high-level dialogues or forums, which could be between US and Europe, Europe, US and India, And then we could also probably say, how could Africa play out in our game or in our activities? So this is what I'll be very happy to do. So this is the part one. If there is something else, Pari, you could probably let me know now, so that while I talk to people, I keep those things playing on my mind, so that I don't really leave anything important while talking to these people.
I think that's wonderful comments, point of views, and we with some organization we have formed partnership in terms of joint events, joint research, and also grant writing. All of that is possible. I think various organizations that they may have different objectives, like somebody likes joint event and we are happy to do that. Somebody else wants to joint grant to go that route and we will be happy, or all of it. So depending who they are, but I think it's important because our name is global, and I do like to emphasize that global aspect because we really want to have a global conversation. So that would be very helpful to bringing, some voices from India, Africa, various countries, and also collaborating. And at the end, Forum is a nonprofit, so it's not all. We do like to, sort of help and provide better understanding. That's the core and mission of Forum. So all those would be very, very helpful. And I appreciate if you try to, sort of connect us with whoever you think it's suitable, and we will look into it. And yeah, we all could participate in debates, in research, and various forms of grant making and different organization. And any other idea that comes to mind is welcome.
I'll make it happen, Pari, because I will then, because if I know a person, I know that person too well. So I'm not really going to put my hands on everything. I'm really going to put my hands on those organizations and people who will, sort of go along with us, because two good people coming together would only be a great idea for everybody. So I will send you the names to begin with, and then we have already agreed about 3-4 things that we could probably do together. So let people identify that we can do this, or maybe 2 or 3, and then we could probably go on to sign some kind of a partnership paper, which will be, that global forum and someone in India, Europe, and Africa enter into, an arrangement where they agree to partner, cooperate, and then we could also even, please consider, have, global forums logo reflected on these organizations, and these organizations' logo running on global forums website as well.
Mm-hmm. No, that would be. Yeah.
People will then go, and from Global Political Forum's website, people could probably see what these think tanks are in India and Europe and Africa, and vice versa. So I think that would be a low-hanging fruit that we could probably leverage to be seen, to be, accessed by people. And then whatever we have been doing, that is also known by others as well, beyond those organizations and those people.
No, the providing visibility and giving a voice to various organizations is something that is, the core mission. Greg, any comments?
No, that all sounds good to me. Thank you, Paran. It sounds like it makes absolute sense. As you know, we've been, as Patty said, we've been reaching out and doing events and other things, having sort of semi-partnerships with lots of different people. And it would be nice to deepen that process and maybe intensify it a bit more. It'd be nice to have, we've been talking to USC about a more solid, more concrete relationship. And so I think the more we can build of those, particularly around the world, that would be great. Paran, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Jen,
Thank you.
any comment from you?
No, that
Sorry,
sounds great.
Okay. Puran, I think I interrupted you. Did you say something?
Yeah, I mean, I said I will then start on the plan, and hopefully very soon I'll write you an email. You could also probably from your side, Pari, or probably have a look at their website, have a look
Sure.
at who they are, and then I sort of write a formal mail introducing you and the other one, and then we take it forward. So I think the way forward could be this way, and I'll start working on that.
Thank you. That sounds very good. Thank you very much. So on that point, is there any other issue anyone wants to discuss?
I just wanted to give you a little update, Pari. Springer Nature has, I mean, we have been talking with each other about the book project, which you and I also. So they have agreed to sort of consider, and they have sent me book proposal form, and their people also talked to me, and they seem to be open to sort of see if we both could probably work towards a pathway from where this book project could be taken up by Springer Nature. So I'll keep you into the loop, but we have broken the first layer, and they have agreed to sort of consider my work, the proposal, the book proposal, and I think it will all begin to move now. So I'll keep you updated. They have sent me all the papers and everything, so I have to now start working on the book proposal from next week, and they have given me about 3 weeks to complete everything. And after I have done it, I'll also send you everything, including the proposal that I'm sending to them, so that you are into the loop, Pari, from the day one.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. It's
Thank
a
you.
very good step forward. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Greg, did I interrupt you?
Oh, just this week. I'm speaking this week at a very interesting meeting. Unfortunately, it's a closed meeting, not an open meeting, done by a new institute called the Institute for Law and Security, run by an old friend of mine, Philip Bobbitt. The main subject is going to be Henry Kissinger's new book on artificial intelligence. There's a sort of 50-50 chance that Kissinger will be there. I won't be there. I'm going to do this by Zoom. The idea of flying to New York was more than I could imagine, but it'll be a good chance for me to showcase the forum. My main subject will be data governance and geopolitics. I'll really speak from the paper that Patti and I did earlier, use that as my basic talking points, and we'll see where it goes. But it is, I think, a nice chance, given the audience, a relatively small but very interesting set of people. It'll be a good chance to showcase the forum as well. That's this coming Wednesday.
Greg, are you allowed to tweet about it, or Philip wants to keep it private?
I don't know. I'll ask. I don't see any reason why we couldn't tweet about it.
Then good, if it's possible, it would be good to tweet about it, and as much information as he's comfortable to have.
Yeah.
So anyway, that note, I wish you and Puran good luck with the work you guys are doing, and hopefully our proposal for China will be ready soon as well. So soon we will have a proposal and a white paper, 5G white paper finally will be published. And then I wish you all a wonderful week ahead, and see you next week.
Yes, great week, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.